Some Rick and Morty characters understand exactly what's going on around them. They read people, predict outcomes, and make decisions based on patterns nobody else can see. Other characters walk through the same situations and miss everything. Today we're ranking every major Rick and Morty character by their psychological awareness, how well they understand themselves, the people around them, and the world they actually live in. But before we begin, I'd just like to kindly ask you all to subscribe. It's completely free and it really helps us improve the videos for this wonderful community we've managed to build. Anyway, that's enough. Let's begin. Rick Sanchez is the most psychologically aware character in the entire show, and that awareness is slowly killing him. He doesn't just understand science and the multiverse, he reads people instantly. He predicts how situations will play out before they happen. He understands his own flaws and chooses not to fix them. That combination of total awareness and zero effort to change is what makes Rick so fascinating and so miserable at the same time. Rick sees through every person he meets. He knows what motivates them, what scares them, and exactly which buttons to push to get what he wants. In Ricksy Business, when the house party spirals out of control, Rick doesn't panic. He freezes time, fixes everything, and treats the whole situation like a chore he's done 100 times before. He's not reacting to chaos. He's managing it like someone who already knew the ending. In Morty's Mind Blowers, Rick reveals that he's been secretly removing memories from Morty's brain whenever Morty learns something Rick doesn't want him to know. That's a man who understands his grandson's psychology so well that he can predict which experiences will change Morty's behavior and remove them before they stick. Rick is editing another person's mind to keep them useful. He knows it's wrong. He does it anyway. Total Recall shows Rick's awareness under pressure. When the house fills up with parasites creating fake family members, everyone else falls for it. Rick is the only one who figures out the pattern. Parasites can only create good memories, which means anyone you can't remember a bad experience with isn't real. While everyone else is drowning in confusion, Rick cuts through it by understanding how memory and emotion actually work. The Season 3 premiere, The Rick Shank Rickdemption, is where his psychological awareness peaks. The Galactic Federation has him locked in prison, trying to extract the portal gun formula through a simulated memory. Rick plays along, builds a fake memory so convincing that the agent inside his mind believes it completely, then turns the whole interrogation into a trap and escapes from the inside. That sequence shows a man who understands how minds work so deeply that he can fool a system designed specifically to read his thoughts. In Never Ricking Morty, Rick and Morty get trapped on a train that runs on story potential. Rick figures out the rules almost immediately. While Morty panics, Rick tests the boundaries, what the train wants, how it works, and how to break out. He treats the trap like a puzzle and solves it by understanding its structure faster than anyone else could. Season 6's full meta Jack Rick pushes this further. Rick discovers a layer of reality where the rules of storytelling exist as physical locations. He walks through this place like it's just another dimension, not amazed, not confused. He maps it out and uses it. Rick's ability to step outside his own situation and analyze it from a distance is what separates him from every other character. Here's what makes Rick's awareness tragic. He understands everything about the people around him, what they need, what they fear, why they act the way they do, and uses that understanding to control them instead of connecting with them. He knows Beth wants his approval and gives it just enough to keep her loyal. He knows Morty is scared and uses that fear to keep Morty dependent. He knows Jerry is insecure and attacks that insecurity to keep Jerry small. His drinking, his cruelty, his constant need to prove he's the smartest person around, all of it traces back to a man who understands too much and cares too little. One popular fan theory explains Rick's extreme awareness through the multiverse. In an infinite multiverse, every possible reality exists, and Rick has traveled through more of them than anyone. That kind of exposure to endless versions of the same people, the same problems, and the same outcomes would give anyone an almost supernatural ability to predict behavior. Rick doesn't need to read a person carefully because he's already met 1,000 versions of them. He knows what you're going to do before you do it, because he's watched someone exactly like you do it before. That level of awareness would crush most people. For Rick, it turned him into someone who treats everyone as predictable and disposable. He's not cold because he doesn't understand people. He's cold because he understands them completely and decided that connecting with any single version of anyone is pointless when infinite copies exist. His awareness didn't make him cruel. It gave him the excuse to stop trying. That's what total awareness looks like when it goes wrong. Someone who sees everything and feels nothing. But the next character on this list has almost the same level of awareness and handles it in a completely opposite way, which raises a question the show still hasn't fully answered. Mr. Poopy Butthole is one of the most aware characters in the series, and the strange part is how warm that awareness made him. Where Rick's understanding turned him bitter, Mr. Poopy Butthole's understanding made him kinder. He reads situations clearly, knows what's happening around him, and chooses to respond with honesty instead of manipulation. He first showed up in Season 2, Episode 4, Total Recall. The episode ends with Beth shooting him because she has no bad memories with him, suspicious in a house full of parasites that can only create good memories. But Mr. Poopy Butthole turns out to be real. In the post-credits scene, he's recovering from the gunshot and speaks directly to the audience. He updates viewers on his condition and tells them to come back for Season 3. Nobody told him to do this. He just does it naturally, like he's aware people are watching and wants to keep them in the loop. This became his pattern. After Season 2's finale, he talks to viewers about what happened. After Season 3's finale, he apologizes for not appearing during the season, explains he got married and had a baby, and tells viewers Season 4 won't come out for a long time. He's tracking the passage of time between seasons, and sharing that information with an audience he seems genuinely connected to. Co-creator Dan Harmon once floated an idea that Mr. Poopy Butthole might be part of a species that exists outside normal reality, a phantom creature that shows up when there are gaps in perception or breaks in how people understand their own memories. The show hasn't confirmed this, but it would explain why he seems to have access to information nobody else does. Season 7 gave him a full episode called How Poopy Got His Poop Back, opening with him speaking directly to viewers and commenting on the fact that this is an unusual place for him to show up. He knows where he normally appears and recognizes this is different. The psychological difference between Rick and Mr. Poopy Butthole is striking. Rick has deep awareness of everyone around him and uses it to control them. Mr. Poopy Butthole has deep awareness and uses it to stay connected. Rick sees through people and keeps his distance. Mr. Poopy Butthole sees through situations and moves closer. Rick treats his understanding of the world as a reason to stop caring. Mr. Poopy Butthole treats his understanding as a reason to care more. This says something important about awareness itself. Understanding the truth about the world you live in doesn't automatically make you miserable. It depends on who you were before you gained that understanding. Rick was angry and isolated long before his awareness sharpened to this level. Mr. Poopy Butthole was open and friendly before he started showing signs of deeper knowledge. The awareness didn't shape their personalities. It just turned up the volume on who they already were. Those two sit at the top and couldn't be more different. But the next character raises something even more interesting. What happens to someone who gets a glimpse of real awareness and then has it ripped away every single time? Morty's awareness is like a light that flickers on and off. For most of the show, he moves through adventures reacting in real time with no sense of a bigger pattern behind any of it. Then Rick pulls him into something that cracks his understanding wide open. Morty briefly sees something deeper, and by the next episode, it's gone, like his brain won't let him hold on to it. The clearest example is Full Meta Jack Rick. Rick and Morty chase a creature called Previous Leon through the show's opening sequence, and Morty loses it. He screams, throws up, and starts asking questions he's never asked before. Why do they have opening titles? What does that mean about their lives? Rick waves it off by saying Morty picked up some kind of awareness toxin and it'll wear off. Throughout that episode, Morty walks through a layer of reality where storytelling rules exist as physical places. For one episode, he sees the machinery behind his own world. Then it's over, and he goes right back to normal. The same thing happened in Season 4's Never Ricking Morty. Once the episode ends, none of that knowledge carries forward. This mirrors how most people handle information that's too big to deal with. When you learn something that threatens everything you believe about the world, your brain has two choices: absorb it and let it reshape you, or push it aside and go back to how things were. Rick absorbed it. Morty pushes it away every time. Not because he's stupid, but because his mind is protecting itself. Morty can't function as the scared, emotional kid getting dragged on adventures if he's also carrying around deep knowledge about the nature of his reality. So his brain drops it every single time. Morty does have real emotional intelligence, though. In Morty Night Run, he fights to save an innocent alien named Fart, reads the situation emotionally, then kills Fart when he learns it plans to destroy all carbon-based life. That's psychological growth, starting with feelings and ending with a hard choice based on new information. In the Vat of Acid episode, Rick engineers an entire fake life for Morty as punishment. Morty falls in love, builds a relationship, loses everything. He's psychologically broken by the end because his emotional awareness is high enough to be weaponized against him. The best way to think about Morty is that he visits awareness but never moves in. Rick lives there permanently. Mr. Poopy Butthole seems comfortable there. Morty gets dragged to the door, sees inside, and walks away because staying would destroy him. His emotional awareness is strong. He feels things deeply and reads people's pain with real skill. But his deeper understanding of the bigger system around him resets every time. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Morty gets glimpses and forgets. But the next character said one single line that hints she might understand more than she's ever let on, and the show has never explained why. Beth said something in Season 3 that still hasn't been addressed. At the end of the Rick, Chury, and Morty date, after she and Jerry get back together, Beth casually says their future is going to be more like Season 1 now. Not how things used to be. She says Season 1, naming the first season of her own show like she knows it exists. She wasn't on an adventure. She dropped the line during a normal family conversation like it was nothing. The show hasn't touched it since. But Beth's psychological awareness in a more traditional sense is some of the most complex in the show. She inherited a lot of how Rick's mind works. She reads people well, she's emotionally sharp when she wants to be, and she can detach from overwhelming situations the same way Rick does. When she found out she might be a clone in Season 4, her eventual response was to accept both possibilities and keep going. That takes serious self-awareness. Beth understands her own flaws better than she gets credit for. She knows she has her father's coldness. She knows she chose Jerry partly because he was easy to control. She knows she abandoned her own ambitions and blames everyone else for it. She voices these things more honestly than most characters on the show. Where Beth falls short is her blind spot around Rick. She's so desperate for his approval that she ignores patterns anyone else would catch. Rick manipulates her emotionally, and she lets him, because accepting that her father doesn't love her the way she needs him to is too painful. Beth's awareness is strong in every direction except the one that matters most to her. She can read Jerry like a book and diagnose her own problems with uncomfortable honesty, but she can't see Rick clearly because her emotional need for him blocks it. Awareness has limits, and those limits are usually set by the things we're most afraid of losing. The characters below Beth don't have that kind of sharpness at all, and one of them is interesting not because of what she notices, but because of how much she's been through and how little it changed her understanding of anything. Summer has been on some of the wildest adventures in the series. She's traveled across dimensions with Rick, fought in apocalypse worlds, and survived situations that would break most adults. She doesn't seem to carry psychological weight the way other characters do, and her awareness stays surprisingly surface level given everything she's experienced. She's been in the room when Rick reveals deep truths about the family, and makes comments hinting at knowledge beyond what anyone else has. She doesn't react or ask questions. Whatever Rick is picking up on, Summer doesn't notice. That said, Summer is socially sharp. She reads high school situations quickly, adapts to new environments faster than any other family member, and handles danger with a practical calm. In Rickmancing the Stone, she thrives in a post-apocalyptic wasteland because she's good at reading power dynamics and adjusting her behavior to fit in. But that's where it stops. Summer's awareness lives entirely in the moment. She reads the room, handles what's in front of her, and moves on. She doesn't reflect on why things happen or what patterns connect her different experiences. She's practical, not philosophical. Summer serves as a grounding force in the show. She worries about fitting in, family stability, and being taken seriously. If she started questioning deeper structures the way Rick does, she couldn't play that role anymore. The show needs characters who take their lives at face value, so the bigger ideas have something to contrast against. Summer might notice more than she shows, but based on everything we've seen, her psychological awareness is strong in social situations and almost non-existent when it comes to the bigger picture. Jerry is the least psychologically aware character in the main cast, and it fits him perfectly. He doesn't read people. He misses obvious signals. He doesn't understand his own behavior patterns. Rick has made comments about seasons and timelines directly in front of Jerry. In Solarix, Rick calls a version of Jerry Season 2 Jerry. Jerry hears it and does nothing. It doesn't register because his brain doesn't have a place to put that kind of information. But here's what the show keeps circling back to. Jerry's total lack of awareness might be what keeps him sane. Rick understands the most, and he's the most miserable. Morty gets temporary glimpses of something deeper, and it makes him sick. Beth's self-awareness causes her constant pain. Jerry knows almost nothing about any of it, and he's often the most content person in the room. He gets genuinely happy over a bowl of cereal, a compliment, or a nice afternoon. Jerry's small world is actually comfortable because he never tries to see beyond it. Jerry's biggest blind spot is himself. He doesn't see how his insecurity drives people away, or recognize that his need for approval is the thing that makes people lose respect for him. In the whirly-dirly conspiracy, Rick tells Jerry to his face that Jerry uses pity as a weapon, acting helpless to make people take care of him. Jerry gets upset for a moment and goes right back to doing the exact same thing. The information bounced off because absorbing it would mean changing, and Jerry doesn't have the self-awareness to start that process. Jerry is the purest example of someone living entirely inside their own story. His world is his family, his insecurities, and his daily problems. In a show full of characters carrying existential dread, Jerry's smallness is almost peaceful. Other characters. A handful of side characters show unusual awareness, but only because they were built that way. Previous, Leon from Full Meta Jack Rick, exists to create previously on recaps. His awareness is built into what he is. Storylord became aware he was fictional and wanted to escape into something real. The self-referential six have abilities based on storytelling concepts. Jesus Christ shows up in both storylines as someone trapped inside stories trying to break free. These characters are aware because that's how they were designed, not something they earned or discovered. Everyone else, Bird Person, President Curtis, Unity, Evil Morty, Squanchy, shows no sign of understanding anything beyond the world right in front of them. The pattern line up every character's awareness and a clear picture forms, and it has something uncomfortable to say about the relationship between understanding and happiness. Rick sits at the top. He reads people instantly, predicts outcomes before they happen, and he's drowning in misery. Mr. Poopy Butthole sits just below him, but handles it with warmth instead of bitterness. Beth has sharp self-awareness, but her blind spot around Rick causes her constant pain. Morty gets flashes of deeper understanding that his brain refuses to hold on to. Summer reads social situations well, but doesn't look beyond what's in front of her. Jerry sits at the bottom, aware of almost nothing, and finds more simple happiness than anyone else in the family. The show uses this scale to make a point it keeps coming back to. Understanding the world around you doesn't automatically make your life better. The more you see, the more you have to carry. Rick is proof that total awareness without emotional connection leads to emptiness. Jerry is proof that ignorance, while limiting, at least lets you enjoy your cereal in peace. But Mr. Poopy Butthole breaks the pattern wide open. He's nearly as aware as Rick, and he's one of the warmest characters in the series.
That suggests the problem was never awareness itself. It's what you choose to do with it.
Rick let it make him cruel. Mr. Poopy Butthole let it make him kind. They're looking at the same truth from the same height. The difference is entirely in how they responded to what they saw. You can watch Rick and Morty as a comedy about a drunk genius and his nervous grandson going on adventures. Or you can watch it as a study of what happens to different kinds of people when they gain different amounts of awareness, and how some of them break under it, some of them grow from it, and some of them never even notice it was there. The show has spent 8 seasons building this system where different characters understand different amounts about themselves, each other, and the world they live in. And those levels of understanding shape everything about who they are. That's what makes this show more than just a comedy. It's a map of what awareness does to people. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.